Richmond is the place where the heat is on, literally, as the race to Daytona and the playoff cut line enters the home stretch, and you can add a little hate after Pocono last week into the cauldron as well. Boy, the hate bubbling over in one weekend. Junior, here's Denny Hemlin being introduced to the hometown crowd. Are you surprised they booed him so much?
Well, it's kind of been building all year long. He's done a lot of things off the racetrack and on the racetrack. It's sort of building up this reaction to the fans. Riding along with Denny Hemlin and that Toyota on board as they come out of turn 4 for the final time before we see the green flag racing at Richmond. Tyler Reddick started up front with Kyle Busch in that front row, but Reddick has separated himself early. 2 by 2 behind him, though. Denny Hemlin in the 11, looking already, trying to take second away from Busch. Truex way up the racetrack there in turn 3 and 4. The 19 losing a few spots, locked up the left front tire, I believe. Let's take another look at the 19 and what happened.
Yeah, see Truex driving into turn 3, gets on the brakes. Oh, contact actually with the 47. Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Great stage for 23-11 as Tyler Reddick's getting ready to come back to the checkered flag, and he's been stingy. For a driver who has never led a lap on a short track, he's about to lead his 70th lap today, and not another driver has been out front. Suarez is going to stay on that lead lap, and it is Tyler Reddick grabbing his 4th stage win this season. That is his most ever in a season. Bubba Wallace trying to stay on the outside of that 45 and pressure him. Limit the amount he can come up the racetrack and see if he can get by on the high side.
Michael McDowell back to 5th row, jumped up and made it 3 wide, still 3 wide, but he made a ton of positions doing that. He did that on the very first start of the race as well to gain a lot of spots, finishing 11th in that first stage. He's taking gambles. His pit crew has taken gambles all year long to put him in spots to succeed, and he matches well with that aggression on the racetrack. Bubba Wallace pinching down that 45, and Bubba Wallace is leading at Richmond.
Tyler Reddick, when you have one of the better cars on the racetrack, you play it safe. That's what they're doing here. 2 stops in this stage for Billy Scott and Tyler Reddick. To the car, really good, just a little bit too free on exit, Dylan.
Bubba Wallace is in, the race leader. Rudy Barker, the crew chief, said your management of that stage 1 run was ideal. Passed when you could, but didn't force it. It's been more of the same for Wallace. He's down and away.
Bubba Wallace, he's up front, and this is the most laps Bubba has led in a race in his career. So already 78 laps led, and that's tying Tyler Reddick for the most laps led. But Bubba Wallace going to continue with that number.
Here's Bubba Wallace in as well, the race leader. He just said that he's been getting loose, and it keeps getting worse, starting to get snappy as well. They'll make an adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for the race leader.
Oh no, slow right side. The jack comes down. Tire changer's looking at him, jacking this thing up. This is going to be at least a second, maybe 2 seconds slower than a normal pit stop for Bubba Wallace.
Now you have to wonder how frustrated Bubba Wallace is, and does he drive frustrated, knowing that that was a longer stop?
Luckily that happened under green. I mean, if it happens under yellow, we lose dozens of spots. Under green, he's just used a lot of time on the racetrack, probably just a few spots.
Well, you see how much it is. Keselowski goes flying by.
As we see the 11 going by the 23, so Denny Hemlin up to the 4th spot. Buescher, Reddick in front of him. How far do you think he can go before the end of stage 2?
I think Hamlin's going to get all the way to 2nd at the current pace. There's 7 or 8 laps, pressure tires on Buescher and Reddick. Remember, when we talk about, splitting this stage up, Gabehart, very disciplined. He's going to run an even amount on every set of tires, and I think that's showing up right here in the pace of this 11.
Larson's still lurking right there behind him, trying to get himself back on the lead lap. 4 laps to go on the stage. If he cannot do that, can he at least stay there to be able to get the free pass? And the 48, his teammate,
blocked him,
cuts him off, and runs him up the racetrack right here, trying to take that high line away.
That's how competitive it is. You want to be the first car a lap down or try to get back to Brad. I really think Larson thinks he can get back to Brad. He got it right up against the boards in 3 and 4 and was making really good time. And now that he's got to Bowman, he's slowed down a little bit.
And you mentioned it, Keselowski. Yes, he's going to win the stage by a long shot, a last effort to get in front of Bowman.
The 5, you can see him sideways off the corner, just could not get it done.
So Keselowski, his 3rd stage win this year and at Richmond. Steve, you mentioned the strategy that played out as we see Denny Hemlin go wide and really high, trying to take advantage of this restart. Can he get by the 23?
Bubba's going to give him the room.
Now they're door to door.
Bubba's going to beat him on corner exit here. Here comes the 11, though, back on the outside. Priest trying to block there, the 54 of Ty. Ty Gibbs gets right in the back bumper of the 41 car, Priest.
Yeah, this final stage, things are heating up here.
Chris Buescher, I believe, is on his way in, or there he is right there. So didn't say much on the radio on this run, just was searching for some clean air and a way to get around the race leader and his teammate, Brad Keselowski. On the bottom of your screen, Bubba Wallace, kind of the same thing. Been pretty happy on this run. Just needs some center turn and lateral grip for the 23.
Well, the 17 came to pit road. That forces the leader, Brad Keselowski, to counter. We'll see if 1 lap fresher is the difference for the 17 of Buescher as Brad, an awkward turn into his pits. Looks weird, but it's clear because the driver's allowed to have the right rear out of the box. Right front, left rear must be in the pit box. Right rear can be out, so it's legal. It's just slow. So on the top of your screen, you see the 6 on pit road, the 17 in the middle of the corner. So right here is the 17 of Buescher on the front stretch. This one I don't think is even going to be close. I think the 17 between coming a lap early and I'm sure that awkward entry by the 6 of Keselowski is going to cost the 6 a ton of time against his RFK teammate.
We just saw the 11 and the 5 of Kyle Larson, and I think it took 330 laps before we saw that.
Yeah, Kyle on newer tires and just telling Denny, you know, you're not going to be the guy that slows me up. He said before the race he was going to race him different, and that's what that was. Didn't wreck him or anything. Just, hey, I got new tires, rolling through here. Not going to let you slow me up. Moving out of the way, off he goes.
He has been really happy with this race car on this run. Don't see any chassis adjustments, but Buescher has been pleased with the race car. Just going to have to keep it out front here to keep the clean air and track position.
So Chris Buescher's going to rejoin, and right now it's basically just going to be a battle between Chris Buescher on new tires and the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., who has already pitted his one and only time. There's Truex. He's already on the backstretch. He's going into turn 3. You see on the top of your screen, Buescher is basically half the straightaway behind him. I think he'll have no problem catching him, but that is what the race win will look like.
Hey, Steve, line violation for Tyler Reddick. You called it. They did not get the pit road cleanly, so one of the contenders will serve a penalty right here. Look at that. And, oh, that's close, but he does touch that orange box. Can't do that, Steve. So one of the contenders out of it here. Tyler Reddick gets a penalty on what should be the last stop of the day.
Martin Truex Jr. out front and knew this was going to happen if they stayed green. The fresher tires winning out. And Chris Buescher able to get by Martin Truex Jr. He takes the lead now, has a 3-second lead over Truex running in the 2nd spot. They see what Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski are doing at the racetrack week in and week out, as we've got a spin in turn 4 and a caution has come out for the restart.
Daniel Suarez around backwards.
Noah Gragson and Suarez contact into turn 3.
Suarez goes around the big smoke screen, and the caution has come out.
Dylan, we'll see if Denny Hamlin's pit crew can make up any of that gap coming to pit road. He said, I just need more help turning the center, but I cannot be any looser off the corner. The 17 and 41 already coming by pit road. In fact, the 17's already gone by. Denny Hamlin comes in second. Looks like they'll come out second as well.
Great point.
Big stop for the 8. Look at Kyle Busch gaining a spot now. He will be either on the inside of row 1 or he will be in row 2. Here we go. It'll be 3 to go. Buescher on the inside, Hamlin on the outside. Green flag back in the air.
That's a good launch for the 17. Priest in the 41 side by side with the 11.
Logano as well in the 22. He moves to the outside, but Hemlin has closed the gap. 3 wide for third.
Hemlin's car is better right now. Buescher's going to have to block.
Under 2 to go.
Denny locks up the left front. He's up the racetrack. How about Joey Logano? Where did he come from?
Logano fighting for that second spot now. Hemlin trying to regroup. They're side by side for second. Hemlin back out into that second spot. 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank. Chris Buescher, after a dominant performance, 86 laps out in front, down the backstretch for the final time. The 30-year-old from Prosper, Texas, which, by the way, has a population of 30,000, is going to win in front of more here in Richmond. Buescher wins at the short track.
Oh, yeah, guys. That's right, guys. That's the team we can be racing.
They're wrecking in the back of the field. Cars spinning around backwards on the front straightaway.
Cindric's involved. Allmendinger, we see him riding it now. The 77 also has gone around, and Ty Dillon. You mentioned RFK. Keselowski and Buescher combined led 189 laps. They were the top 2 lap leaders in this race.
What was your thought when that caution came out, Chris? What were you thinking? Because you had it in hand.
Yeah, it was smooth sailing. They're trying to take care of this fast on Mustang, and these guys over at RFK, the 17 team, gave me a great hot rod. This thing was so good, and just trying to take care of it there. And about the time Scott came over the radio, he said, "That's working perfect. Keep it up. Caution." I was like, "Yeah, that's about right." But I knew even on our green flag stuff, we were so strong during the race, so I had a good feeling about it there. So pretty awesome to pull it off. Proud of everybody, because that was a long way from the back this morning, so heck of a race for us.